In this video assignment, lesson 1, we'll take a look at the interface and create an assignment that will get you started with AutoCAD. So getting started, it depends on the release of AutoCAD that you have, but most of the newer ones will have a button here to pick to start a drawing. So click right here and you'll see something that's similar to this screen. At the bottom right corner, you have several tools that will be blue if they're on and gray if they're not on. So what you see is a grid in front of you. Next to the word model, click on the icon that looks like a grid and it's blue. And when I do that, it turns gray, turning it off. We'll come back to some of those tools later on. In the ribbon, you'll see that we have different panels. We're in the Home tab at the top left with the Draw, Modify, Annotation, Layers, and other panels that include icons. We also have tabs here that show us that we're in Drawing 1. To save the file, we can either use the big red A in the top left corner to pick Save, or look for the icon that's similar to this floppy disk icon. We'll go up here and pick Save. Navigate over to the folder that you're going to use, and then at the bottom, change your file name to Assignment 1. Let's go ahead and pick Save. And with your pointer, go ahead and click on the line icon, which should be at the top left corner. When you click on the line icon, pull your mouse into the screen, and you'll see that at the very bottom left corner, this is your command line and your dialog with AutoCAD. Probably the most important part of the screen for you to watch because it's telling you to specify the first point. So I'll pick a point with my left mouse button, pull your mouse away from that point, and you'll see that the line hasn't been drawn yet. This is kind of a rubber band until you click the next point. And then your command line says specify next point or undo. So go ahead and click another point, just random for now. And you'll see that your command line at the bottom now says or close or undo. So if I wanted to undo that last line that I just created while I'm in this command, I can click right on the word undo, or I can type in that blue letter right there, U, for undo, and enter to undo one line segment at a time. So I'll go ahead and click right on the word undo. You see one line segment will be removed. So as you click here and continue clicking, you'll see that you're actually drawing lines. If you want to close back to the first point that you pick, then pick the word close, and AutoCAD will close back to the first point that you pick. And in your command line, you'll be back at type a command, which is AutoCAD waiting for you to continue. Use your escape key on the keyboard at the top left corner to escape out of commands. Go ahead and press that button and notice that your command line is canceling every time you pick escape. There are other draw commands that we'll be looking at throughout the semester, and then the next panel will be modify. To select objects, you can click in space and let go. Pull your mouse to the left or right to select objects. If you pull your mouse to the left, everything inside this box and crossing over the box when you click again will be highlighted. If you click in space and pull your mouse to the right, only the objects completely inside the box will be selected. Use your escape key for now to get rid of those blue lines and boxes, which are grips. Also, if you hold your left mouse button down in space and pull your mouse to the left or the right, what you're creating here is a polygon instead of the box. So some students will click and let go, or click and hold your left mouse button down to select the objects. Once you have the objects selected, you can then, as a choice, click on the erase icon right here in the Modify panel. The objects will disappear, but at the very, very top left corner, you'll see the arrow icon that curves to the left, which is undo. You can also type in U for undo. So take a look at what happens when I rest my pointer on the icon. It'll tell me what the type in is for that tool. So when I click on undo, I'll get my objects back. And now you'll see the redo that's next to it, which I can use to go back to my last undo. So I'll go ahead and click undo again to get the objects back. Another way to use AutoCAD tools is to click the icon first. So in the Modify panel, which we'll be going through several of these commands, you'll see the erase icon. It looks just like an eraser here. If you rest your pointer on that icon, you'll see the command and various information about it. You can also see what you would type in. You can actually type in E for erase at the command line also. But we'll go ahead and click on the erase icon, and you see you have the little box there, the pick box that you can use to either select an object, one object at a time, or click in space and again pull your mouse across the objects to select them. When you're done, your command line says select objects. It says that so many were found, and then you'll need to know that when your command line says select objects and you're done selecting objects, you can either press enter on the keyboard, or you can right click, and right click is similar to enter. So let's go ahead and erase these objects so that we can move forward in this quick video to get you started. I'm going to select just right on this line here. You can even right click and pick erase. So you have 3 different ways of working with this command. You can select the objects and pick the erase icon. You can click on the erase icon, select the objects and enter, or you can select the objects, right click and pick erase. We're going to start in this video by introducing layers. We'll come back to layers as we work on them later in the assignments. Let's click on layer properties so that we can take a look at creating new layers. Some drawings are separated by objects, so you'll have a layer for the furniture, a layer for walls, or a layer for text, and it depends on your company standards. For this assignment, we're going to create a layer called objects and another one for your dimension and text. There's an icon at the top of this layer properties manager that looks like a stack of papers with a little sunshine right there. When you click on it, you'll see that a new layer name is started. Go ahead and type in objects. Press enter twice or click the new layer icon to create a layer called dim text. I combine the dimensions and the text on the same layer, but you'll see in some of the assignments that you work with, you'll have several layers that are based on different names so that you can change the color, you can turn those layers on and off, and other properties that we'll be looking at as we start to work with these tools. What we want to do in this video is select the objects layer so that it's highlighted and change the line weight. You'll see that there's a column here called line weight, and if you open up this dialog box by putting your pointer on the edge here and holding your left mouse button down to make it longer, you can open up some of these column headings by putting your pointer on that line between the columns, holding your left mouse button down and dragging it out, or double clicking on that line between the columns so that the column is opened up. So if I double click here on the line between the columns, you'll be able to see more of the information. So with the objects layer highlighted, click right on the word default for the line weight column. We're going to create the objects so that they will be printed and displayed when we look at the print preview bolder. So we'll go ahead and scroll down and select 0.60 millimeters. Pick OK. And then let's change the color so that we can keep our objects on the correct layer. For the objects layer, we'll go ahead and click on the color white, and you'll have all of these different colors to choose from. Keep in mind that I'm using a white background and yours is probably black. So for these assignments, go ahead and use a brighter color like yellow or green. Some of the assignments will ask you to work with specific colors, but for this assignment you can go ahead and use your own. You will not have to use black for one of your colors, and when you use white, you'll notice that my white, or color 7, that's located right here, is black because I have a white background in the screen, but you can see that it's color white and it will print black. So let's use color 7 for one of your layers. I'll go ahead and keep the objects white. And then for the dim text layer, I'm going to click on the word white and change it to something else like red right here in this strip. That would be color 1. These colors right here represent the different numbers. There are 256 different colors that you can use and quite a few more. You can even change the color number down here in the edit box, and you'll see that it will read red. Okay, I want to start to place objects on the objects layer, so I'm going to double click on that sheet of paper just to the left of the word objects. And what that does is it makes that layer the current layer, the one that's going to be at the top, the one that we're going to be drawing our objects on. You could also highlight the layer name and click on this icon here with the green check mark, setting that layer current. Now we can close out of this dialog box by picking the X here at the top left. And notice in the layers panel, you'll have here this drop down showing the different layers that you just created. For now, in this video, we're going to keep all of your icons here, the light bulbs, the suns, the lock icons, all yellow, so that we have all of our layers on and unlocked. With the objects layer current now, we can start the line command as we did before. Click a point, and notice if you pull your mouse straight to the right, letting go of your mouse button, when you pull your mouse to the right, you'll see this extended green line that will help you to know that you're right on the 0 direction. You can pull your mouse over and type in a number like 4 and enter. When you type in 4 and enter, AutoCAD will create a 4-inch line for you. If we're working with English units, you can then pull your mouse straight down, type in 4 again and enter. Pull your mouse straight to the left. Don't click, that's the hardest part. Type in 4 and enter, and then we can either pick right on the word close in the command line, or type in C for close, to go back to the first point that we picked. So let's try that again. Start the line command by either clicking on the line icon or typing in L for line and enter. Click here on the line icon, click a point and let go. Pull your mouse to the right, type in 4 and enter. Pull your mouse straight down, type in 4 and enter. Just pull your mouse straight to the left until you see that green tracking vector, that little dash line. Type in 4 and enter. And then you can type in C for close and enter. Okay, let's get started. We're going to erase these objects, so click in space and let go. Pull your mouse across those objects and click so they're all highlighted, and then pick the erase icon. We're going to create this assignment for video assignment lesson 1. You'll see that it's basic, but we're going to also work with an introduction to dimensions and placing text. If you see this information that says produced by an Autodesk student version, and it's the only difference between a student version and a full version, you'll see that we can use that same concept to walk ourselves around this drawing. So start the line command. Let's pick a point to start here at the top left corner of this 2-inch line. So we'll pick a point, pull your mouse to the right. Don't click, that's the hardest part of this. You're just pulling your mouse in the direction you want to go and typing in the distance. Type in 2 and enter. Then pull your mouse straight down, type in 2 and enter. Pull your mouse to the right and type in 2 and enter. Straight down, type in 2.5 and enter. To the left, we're going to type in 3 and enter. And if you're wondering where that came from, it's right here. I'm down here at the bottom. It's 3.00. So now pull your mouse straight up and type in 0.5 and enter, which comes from this dimension here. Pull your mouse to the left and type in 2.5 and enter. Then up, straight up, 2.5 and enter. Over to the right, type in 1.5 and enter, and then C for close. Only use C for close if you didn't end the command and then restart it. So if you had to draw a few lines, I'm going to erase these and come back to it because you only had this part done. You can start the line command if you needed to. Start halfway through. You could click a point to start the line command again, pull your mouse up and continue. I'm going to type in 2.5 and enter, come over to the right, 1.5 and enter, but now I won't be able to use C for close because my first point that I picked was down here at this corner. So I'll have to pull my mouse up and click and then enter. Using the wheel of your mouse, you can roll the wheel to zoom, and you're zooming right into this pointer. You can double click on the wheel of the mouse to zoom extents or see everything in your drawing that's on, and then you can roll the wheel back here to zoom further out. You can hold the wheel down to pan, and this is not moving the objects, you're just moving the view. Now if you don't have a mouse that has a wheel and you're just using the laptop, you can use this navigation bar on the right hand side that also has here the pan tool. It has several other zoom commands here. I would recommend that you buy a mouse button with a wheel to make it easier to zoom, pan, and double click for a zoom extents. I'd also like to mention that you can type in the letter Z and enter for zoom. And then if you look at your command line, you'll have all of these other options to zoom extents or zoom window. I can type in E for extents and enter for zoom extents. I'll use the wheel of my mouse to zoom back. Now we're ready to place the dimensions. Before we place the dimensions, let's go over to change the layer. We can drop down the layer list and pick right on the word dim text. Now, dim text is the current layer. In the annotation panel, I won't be using the large icon that says dimensions. I'm going to use here the tool called linear. It looks like a small dimension, and if you click on the arrow next to it, you'll see that you have several other types of dimensions. We're going to use linear for this assignment. So we'll click on linear and then click here at the top left corner, click here at the other corner, pull your mouse up and click. The first thing you'll notice is that we have a precision that's 4 places to the right, and in our drawing it's 2 places to the right. So we're going to modify that and introduce you to changing your dimension style. Type in D, the letter D, and enter. You don't have to click down at the command line to enter D and enter. Go ahead and pick the modify button here because we're changing the standard style. And in the primary units tab right here, we're going to change the precision at the top left to 0.00. That's the only thing we're changing, but you can take a look at these different tabs we'll be getting back to during the semester to learn more about modifying the dimension settings. So for now, the only change we're making is in the primary units tab. We're changing our precision to 0.00. Let's go ahead and pick OK and close, and you'll see that your precision changes. For the next dimension, we're going to pick linear here. And keep in mind that you're clicking on the corner of the object. So I'm going to click on this corner and this other corner for the next dimension. And notice if I pull my mouse over, I'm going to create a vertical dimension. If I pull my mouse over and up, I'll have a horizontal dimension. Please don't try to eyeball or fudge this, right? We want to line it up completely. So I'm going to pull my mouse over to the end of the existing arrow so that I can get that object snap called endpoint, that little green box, so that it snaps onto that arrow and lines it up completely. We can go back to linear and click on the 2 corners for the dimension 1.5. Pull your mouse up and click right here where the arrow is located for the existing dimension. I'm using the wheel of my mouse to zoom back and hold it down to pan. You can pick linear, click the 2 corners here, pull your mouse over and click. Use linear to pick these 2 corners. Make sure you click on the existing arrow to line these up. Before we continue, look what happens when you select a dimension that's already existing. You have these blue little grips. These grips will help you to move the location line or the ends of the extension lines, making sure that these ends are right on the corners of your objects so that you have that little gap between the extension line right here and the objects. Use your escape key to get rid of the grips. So now if I need to line this up, I can click on this dimension once, click inside this little blue grip right there and let go, pull my mouse over to this existing arrow and click to line it up. Pause the video and continue with your dimensions. Now that you have all the dimensions in place, I wanted to mention that when you start a command, you can either click on the icon, or if that was the last command that you used, you can right click to repeat the command. But be careful here, if your last command was undo, you'll be repeating the undo. So if I pick repeat dim linear, I can go back to that command. I wanted you to get used to here starting the command, and sometimes it's hard to get used to the left mouse button, the right mouse button, so you have a lot of choices here. Now we can place our text. We can go up to the annotation panel again and go to text and pick multi-line text. Pick a first corner, pull your mouse across and down to create a box to click for your opposite corner. Put your cap locks on and type in the assignment name. Type in assignment 1. Press enter and type in your name. Then hold your left mouse button down and drag it across the title so that it's highlighted. You'll see that the ribbon is completely different. You can find the icon for underline and underline the title. Then click in space to end the command. If you need to modify the text, you can double click on this text to get back into the text editor and continue editing. If your box was too small or big, you can put your pointer at the end of this ruler, hold your left mouse button down, and make the box bigger or smaller. Click in space to get back to the drawing. If you'd like to move your title over slightly, you can use the drag and drop method by just selecting your text, holding your left mouse button down on the text, drag it over and drop. So select an object, hold your left mouse button down, drag and drop to line it up or move it into the position that you'd like to use. You can also use this blue grip here to click inside the grip and move your text to a different location. If you're looking to move an object to the right layer, I'll go ahead and maximize this drawing. We can select the object, drop this layer list down, and pick which layer you want that object to go on. So I just put an object that was supposed to be on the dimension layer on the object layer. So let's put it back. I can select this object here, drop down the layer list, pick right on the word dim text, use my escape key to get rid of the grips so that now my drawing is organized and the objects are on the object layer and the dimensions and text are on the dim text layer. I'd like to also mention that when you start placing dimensions, a layer called def points is going to be created automatically. This layer is meant to hold the small little points that are at the end of the dimension line so that they won't print, and it's created by AutoCAD. And we'll just leave it to understand that it's a layer that is created by AutoCAD. Also, layer 0 is something that we'll come back to in describing how to use it with blocks, and we'll stay away from putting objects on that layer for now. Save the file and submit the completed DWG drawing for this assignment. When you pick save, you are creating a backup file. You'll see another file with an extension BAK. Please don't submit the backup file. Submit the file that has the AutoCAD colorful icon next to it. You'll see here that it looks like the AutoCAD software. The icon that looks like a folder at the bottom will open up your Explorer folder system. You can navigate over to your drawing files and see that you have these files. Yours may not show the different extensions here, DWG, BAK. So make sure that you're submitting the file that has that colorful icon there, which is the DWG. Or over here it says DWG instead of the backup file. Okay, this is video assignment lesson 1. Take a look at the other assignments. You'll be learning about several modify tools and working with modifying existing drawings.